If there's one magic word that stands out above all, that word is discipline. Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment, between inspiration and goal, between need and productivity. Remember, all good things are upstream from us. The passage of time takes us adrift, and drifting only brings us negativity, disappointment, and failure. Failure is not a catastrophic event. It's usually not the result of a major incident, but rather a long list of accumulated small failures. If your goal requires you to write 10 letters today and you only write 3, you're 7 short. If you want to make 5 calls and only make 1, you're 4 short. If your plan calls for saving 10 today and you don't save anything, you've lost 10. The danger is looking at an undisciplined day and concluding that there was no great harm. But add up those days to make a year, and then add up those years to make a life, and it will be evident how repeating today's small failures can easily turn your life into a big disaster. Imagine unlocking the secrets of the world's greatest minds effortlessly. It may sound incredible, but it's now a reality with our 100 summarized books kit, which includes audiobooks and PDFs of the most valuable parts. Learning has become more accessible than ever. Don't miss this opportunity. Get your kit by clicking the first link in the description. Success, on the other hand, is the same process in reverse. If you plan to make 10 calls and end the day having made 15, you've gained 5 calls. You can see the huge difference this kind of thing can make in a year and the wealth and achievements that await you throughout life. Discipline is like a set of magic keys that can open all the doors to wealth, culture, high self-esteem, joy, accomplishment, satisfaction, and success. The first key to discipline is awareness of the need and value of discipline, especially the discipline to make the necessary changes. What will it take? What must I do and what must I become to get everything I want out of life? The second key is the will. More than that, it's the drive to maintain your new discipline deliberately, wisely, and consistently. The third key to discipline is the commitment to master the circumstances of everyday life, to see and seize opportunities to take advantage of the good and what comes in the form of misfortune. Discipline does many things, but most important of all is what it does for your way of thinking. It makes you feel better about yourself. Even the smallest discipline can have an incredible effect on your attitude, and the good feeling you get, that growing sense of self-esteem that comes from starting a new habit, is almost as good as the feeling that comes from the achievement that discipline brings. A new habit immediately changes the course of your life. You don't change your destination immediately, that will still come. But you can change direction immediately, and direction is very important. Discipline cooperates with nature. Everything strives. It is a function of ordinary life. How tall can a tree grow? As tall as it can. Everything strives to become everything it can be. And that's what discipline is all about. Striving to reach our natural potential to become everything we can be. The human will in action, driven by inspiration, attracted by desire, tempered by reason, guided by intelligence, can take you to that high place called the good life. Discipline attracts opportunities, which are always attracted by ambition and skill in action. Discipline harnesses the unlimited power of commitment. Discipline is those unique steps of intelligent thought and activity that put a brake on bad moods and give way to courtesy, that develop the positive and control the negative, that foster success and disseminate failure, that shape lifestyle and control frustration, that improve health and curb disease, that promote happiness and manage sadness. Discipline is the ongoing process that brings all good things. Remember, anyone can start the process. It's not, if I could, I would. It's more, if I wanted to, I could. If I want to, I can. So start the process. Start a new habit, no matter how small. The size doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is whether or not you start and whether or not you continue. So what is a spiral of achievements? What is the basis for achieving a good life? It's not in learning to set goals. It's not in learning to manage your time better. It's not in mastering the attributes of leadership. Every day, in 1,000 different ways, we try to overcome ourselves by learning to do things differently. We spend our entire lives gathering knowledge in classrooms, textbooks, and experiences. And if knowledge is power, if knowledge is the precursor to success, why don't we achieve our goals? Why, despite all our accumulated knowledge and experience, do we often find ourselves wandering aimlessly, settling for a life of mere existence instead of a life of substance? There may be many answers to this question. Your answer may be different from everyone you know. Although there may be many answers, the definitive answer may be the lack of discipline in applying our knowledge. It doesn't matter how smart you are if you don't use your knowledge. It doesn't matter if you graduated with honors if you're stuck in a low-paying job. It doesn't matter if you attend every seminar that comes along if you don't apply what you learned. We spend our lives accumulating knowledge, skills, experiences, but we must also apply the knowledge, skills, and experiences we accumulate in the realms of life and business. We must learn to use what we learn. Once we have applied our knowledge, we must study the results of that process and refine our approach. Finally, by testing, observing, refining, and trying again, our knowledge will inevitably produce worthy and admirable results. And with the joy and results of our efforts, we continue to fuel our ambition with the positive reinforcement of continuous progress. Soon, we will find ourselves being propelled into a spiral of achievements, a vertical ascent towards success. And the ecstasy of this total experience contributes to a life triumphant over tragedy, boredom, and mediocrity. But for this whole process to work for us, we first need to master the art of constant self-discipline. Constant self-discipline is required to master the arts of goal setting, time management, leadership, parenting, and maintaining relationships. If we don't make constant self-discipline a part of our daily lives, the results we seek will be sporadic and difficult to achieve. A constant effort to truly manage our valuable time. Without it, we will be constantly frustrated. Our time will be consumed by others whose demands are stronger than ours. It takes discipline to conquer the persistent voices in our minds, the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of poverty, the fear of having a broken heart. It takes discipline to keep trying when that nagging voice inside us raises the possibility of failure. It takes discipline to admit our mistakes and recognize our limitations. The voice of the human ego speaks to all of us. Sometimes that voice tells us to increase our value or our achievements beyond our actual results. It leads us to exaggerate, to not be completely honest. It takes discipline to be completely honest, both with ourselves and with others. Rest assured that any exaggeration of the truth, once detected by others, destroys our credibility and makes everything we say and do suspect. As soon as a business colleague realizes that we tend to exaggerate, guess what will happen? He will think that we always exaggerate and will never see us with the same eyes, ever. The tendency to exaggerate, distort, or even conceal the truth is an inherent part of all of us. It starts when we are children. Johnny, I didn't do that. Well, maybe Johnny didn't do it, but he probably had something to do with it. And then it continues when we are adults, exaggerating the benefits of a product to make a sale, inflating our net worth to impress old friends, exaggerating how close we are to closing a deal to impress the boss. Only an all-out disciplined attack can overcome this tendency. It takes discipline to change a habit because once habits are formed, they act like a giant cable, an almost unbreakable impulse that only disciplined, long-term activity can change. We must undo each strand of the cable of habits, slowly and methodically, until the cable that once held us becomes nothing more than scattered strands of wire. The consistent application of a new, more desirable discipline is needed to replace another that is less desirable. It takes discipline to plan. It takes discipline to execute our plan. It takes discipline to look with total objectivity at the results of our applied plan. And it takes discipline to change our plan or our method of executing it if the results are bad. It takes discipline to stand firm when the world throws opinions at our feet. And it takes discipline to reflect the value of another person's opinion when our pride and arrogance lead us to believe that we are the only ones who have the answers. With this constant discipline applied to every area of our lives, we can discover untold miracles and uncover unique possibilities and opportunities among the rewards for a disciplined existence. Discipline is a constant awareness of the need to act, along with a conscious act to implement that action. If our awareness and our implementations occur at the same time, then we initiate a valuable sequence of disciplined activity. But if considerable time passes between the moment of awareness and the moment of our implementation, that's called procrastination, putting off until tomorrow what you can do today. Procrastination is almost the exact opposite of discipline. The voice inside us says, do this. Discipline says, do this now, to the best of your ability. Always listen to that voice, and the habit will become instinctive. Procrastination says, later, tomorrow, whenever I get a chance. Also, do whatever it takes to get ahead or impress others. Do what you can, but not what you should. In every circumstance we face, we are constantly presented with these two options. Do it now or do it later. Procrastination is the fruit of success and the satisfaction of indiscipline. The results of indiscipline are immediate, but they are minor compared to the untold rewards of constant self-discipline. An immediate reward for lack of discipline is a fun day at the beach. A future reward for discipline is owning the beach. Unfortunately, most of us prefer today's pleasure to tomorrow's fortune. So how can you get rid of easy distractions? How can you keep your mind on what you're trying to do? How can you maintain a do-it-all-now attitude? How can you choose discipline over procrastination? How can you stay focused on your ambitions? How can you avoid water cooler conversations? Can you keep your focus on your work? Can you do it today instead of tomorrow? Can you socialize after you finish your work? You really have to work on your constant self-discipline every day. Otherwise, you will be distracted by negative thoughts, distracted by negative people, distracted by water cooler talk. Pretty soon, depending on the kind of people you associate with, you'll be distracted by doubts. Never underestimate the power of influence and associations, nor the power of your own constant self-discipline. That is the foundation for improving the quality of your life. Let me give you some keys to discipline. 1. Start with the small things and work your way up to the big ones. Little things are smaller things you can do to improve your life and feel better about yourself. Make a list of them. Life will present some pretty big challenges, but unless you practice the little ones and master them, you won't have a chance at the bigger ones. A man leaves his house to go fix a corporation and hasn't fixed his garage yet. Who is he kidding? So work on all disciplines, both small and large, that will improve your quality of life. And here's a thought. Everything affects everything else. Every lack of discipline affects all other disciplines. Mistakenly, the man thinks, this is the only area in which I failed. Obviously, this is not true. Every failure, no matter how small, affects the rest of his performance. Now, here's the bright side. Every new discipline affects all other disciplines. Every new thing you try affects the rest of your performance. Isn't that exciting? So start with every little discipline you can think of. You can't believe what this will do for your self-confidence. Remember, the biggest obstacle to success is lack of self-confidence. And lack of self-confidence comes from not doing what you could do. 2. Next comes self-motivation. Really, that's the only kind of motivation there is? Jim Rohn was once asked, Mr. Rohn, are you one of those American motivators? He replied, no, I'm a businessman. I can share my ideas and my experiences, but people have to motivate themselves. I found that you can't change people. They can change themselves, but you can't change them. God knows I tried. In the early days, I had a large group of salespeople. I said, I'm going to make them successful even if it kills me. Guess what? You can't do that. Good people meet, they don't change. If you want good people, you have to find them. That's the best answer I can give you. 3. If you want motivated people, you have to find them, not motivate them. The first rule of management is this. Don't send your ducks to Eagle School. Why? Because it doesn't work. I've tried everything. Not long ago, I bought a magazine in New York that had a full-page ad for a hotel chain. The first line of the ad said, we don't teach our people to be nice. That caught my attention. The second line said, we simply hire nice people. 4. I thought, what a clever shortcut. Motivation is a mystery. Why are some people motivated and others not? Why does one salesperson see their first prospect at 7 a.m., while the other sees their first prospect at 11 a.m.? Why does one start at 7 and the other at 11? I give lectures to 1,000 people at a time. One comes out and says, I'm going to change my life. Another comes out yawning and says, I've heard it all before. Why does this happen? Why aren't both affected to the same extent? The rich man says, I read this book, and it put me on the path to wealth. Guess how many out of that 1,000 go out and look for the book? Very few. Isn't it amazing? Why wouldn't everyone go for the book? For one person, you have to say, you better slow down. You can't work so many hours, do so many things. Come on, you're going to have a heart attack and die. And to another person, you have to say, when are you going to get off the couch? 5. What's the difference? Why wouldn't everyone strive to be rich and happy? So be motivated. Don't delegate that job to someone else. The guy says, gee, if someone would come and motivate me, hey, what if they don't show up? You need to have a better plan for your life. You need to have discipline. You need to cultivate a constant daily. Otherwise, distractions will become commonplace. Distractions caused by negative thoughts, negative people, or trivial conversations by the water cooler. Depending on the people you associate with, you may find yourself surrounded by doubts. Never underestimate the power of influence and associations, nor the power of your own constant self-discipline. That is the foundation for improving the quality of your life. 6. Let me offer some keys to discipline. Start with the little things. These are smaller actions you can do to improve your life and feel better about yourself. List these actions. Master the small disciplines before tackling the big challenges. 7. Practice self-discipline every day. No matter how small the act, consistency is crucial. Consistency in applying discipline to small things will translate into success in big ones. 8. Cultivate self-confidence. The biggest barrier to success is a lack of self-confidence, which comes from not doing what you are capable of. Building self-discipline helps strengthen self-confidence, allowing you to achieve your goals. 9. Self-discipline in applying knowledge. It is not enough just to learn. You must apply what you have learned in a disciplined way. This is especially true in the business world and in personal life. 10. Resist short-term temptations. Focus on long-term rewards. Remember, the rewards of discipline are often delayed, but they are far more significant than the immediate gratifications of indiscipline. 11. Reevaluate and adjust. Discipline also involves constantly evaluating the results of your actions and adjusting plans as needed. This requires honesty with yourself and the ability to admit mistakes. 12. Strengthen your will against the opinions of others. It's easy to be swayed by outside opinions, but discipline requires you to maintain your integrity and follow your chosen path, even if it's unpopular. 13. Avoid procrastination. The voice of discipline says, do it now. The voice of procrastination says, do it later. Learning to listen and act on the voice of discipline is one of the biggest challenges and also one of the most rewarding. 14. Be honest. Honesty with yourself and others is a form of discipline. It strengthens relationships and builds mutual respect. Honesty also helps to avoid the pitfalls of ego, which can distort the perception of your own accomplishments. By applying these keys of discipline in your daily life, you will discover that discipline is not just a tool for achieving success and happiness, but also a way of life that elevates your existence. It will lead to remarkable achievements and a life full of meaning and